Today on Gamer's Couch.
Qwirkle.
Qwirkle.
A word that could almost pass as a German word.
But it's not.
Almost.
Welcome.
But we are Qwirkle today, or quirky, is it? I guess that's...
We're always quirky.
That's the pun. So if you think your monitor's the wrong way around, that's not exactly true. I'm just annoying her intro from this side today. Instead of
You gotta switch it up once in a while.
We're trying really hard to be Qwirkle today.
My name is Sarah. Still, that has not changed. His is Daniel. He's still my husband. I still love him. That also has not changed.
I'm sitting on the intro side.
I'm not gonna explain.
You're totally interrupting my intro here.
Just because you sit on my spot doesn't mean you do my job.
I'm done now with interrupting. Please.
Thank you.
Please, we want to go ahead. Mm-hmm. Don't delay.
Sip. Careful, it's hot.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. This is one of the funniest intros we ever made. You already heard the names. They stayed the same. We're just in a different spot because Daniel has a new tattoo and me being super, maybe not so cautious. I don't want to bump against his arm. That is why we changed. But everything else about this video will stay the same as usual. So you're back to, known...
So I should get my tea from there?
Known things and lands. It's all about board games, rules and gameplay first for this wonderful game called Qwirkle. Then we will talk about what we liked or not liked, have a thumb rating, and have funny stories and experiences. And this week, again, it is one of those weeks where Daniel has to be a super smart person and guess which game I am teasing for next week's Wednesday episode of Draw for Initiative. It's time to paint some board game fan art then. So, my love, do the wonderful job of explaining rules and gameplay to the folks of this wonderful game, and we're gonna also play a couple of turns.
I want to put out a timely disclaimer. If you're seeing this not right away, you might not be aware, but we just passed some elections here in Germany, and even though this is an abstract game, please don't confuse this symbol as a political statement from us or from our country in this regard. If you don't really know what I'm talking about, well, maybe you should take a look at how our High Priestess, that's what it's called, like, right? The God Emperor Merkel is handling her hands during speeches. So if you see this symbol,
I'm gonna puke.
Don't be worried.
It's
okay. Enough fun. Now let's get to the serious parts. This is about a game. There's no laughing allowed here. We are in Germany.
I'm a rebel.
Nine.
Go explain.
It's a German lesson. Well, that's not really. You already know that. Okay, so Qwirkle is an abstract kind of. I think it's pretty much a set collecting game. It's very similar, I think, to Rummy. In regards to that, you are trying to set up sets of stuff on the board, and you will collect points for that. Each player has an amount of little
go to the big
tiles.
camera.
Yes,
it's fine.
We are on the big camera. Everybody has 6 of these tiles in front of them, and you're taking turns, adding tiles to the stuff that is already in the middle, and are trying to form sets. Now, sets being actually, you are always scoring points, but the larger the set you create, the more points you get. I'll explain, it'll make sense. So, you see here, there's 6 different colors and also 6 different types of shapes. We just put these out as a kind of representation of what's in the bag of Qwirkles. There's 3 of each in this thing here. So 3 green stars, 3 green Merkles, 3 green squares, 3 green circles, and so on. Now, what you want to do is you attach stuff here to match what's next to them. And that means, let's say these are the things that are already on the board and it's your turn, and I have these 6 here in front of me.
We could actually play a few turns if you like.
Okay. Then
These were
we'll
just
set
to
up.
show you all of the things that are in here.
And because I'm super nice,
You will say the age and everything already while I do the scrambling here.
yes. So Qwirkle is a loud game
Go.
for 6-year-olds.
And 6 years.
Only 6-year-olds. It's a very specific age group on this. No, it's for 6-year-old and older. It supports 2 to 4 players and takes about 30 to 45 minutes. We don't run away yet. We won't play a full thing this time because
Game. That's
this
what's
is
the name of the thing. I have
yes.
6 stones. I'm a stoner.
yes. Shall we just put them on visibly on the top camera so that we pretend we don't know what everybody else is doing?
I'm not going to show you what I'm going to play. You
This
can
is
show
not a
you.
real game we're playing.
It is.
So I'll leave mine
Yeah.
open so that
I'm going to
folks-
win, of course.
Folks can see what I drew. So I have 3 of the same. That is
I have 4 of the same.
That is important for the beginning. So Sarah will start because the player who has the highest set they can create is the same. So 3 of the same here would be these 3 greens. The next highest would be either these 2 stars or these 2 circles that I can do. But the highest is 3 greens. So we'll see.
I have lots of colored circles. And then I draw up immediately.
So let's talk about scoring a little bit. Now, Sarah put down 4 tiles and gets 4 points for
Because I'm
that.
awesome.
1 for each. Now, if I come in, and I already tell you I will not do optimal moves, but now what I could do is I could place my blue guy here, and then I would get 5 points because every row that I'm contributing towards gets points. So 5 points is almost close to the highest you can get. Actually, the highest you can get is a Qwirkle. That is if you complete a row of 6. And it doesn't matter if it's 6 different colors with the same symbols or if it's 6 different symbols of the same color. As soon as you are able to complete a full row, you get a Qwirkle, which is worth twice the points, so 12 points. But beware! So something I could not do is this. Even though I now have 6 things down here, you are not allowed to repeat things in a row. So this green here is not allowed to be placed there. Other things I could have done instead of placing the blue guy would be to add the green guys there to go and have...
But not the circle.
I'm sorry. Have these green guys here. You can only add along one axis is, I think, the best description. So something like I couldn't add these like this. That is not allowed. I can do them over multiple turns, but not in one go. So I think actually the best move I can make is to add my blue guy here. This is, although unfortunate for me, if I knew what Sarah had, and
It's a perfect thing. I'm not going to Qwirkle,
okay,
but it's otherwise a perfect thing.
So if Sarah has a purple circle, I would just enable her to Qwirkle, and that actually concludes my move. You keep track. Sarah has 4 points. I made just 5 points, and Sarah is doing
Doubts. Which is 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. It's kind of like a Qwirkle, but not a Qwirkle.
That's a lot of points.
That puts me up to 16.
Yes.
Sweet 16.
And we will actually, I can do something cool now too.
Can you make a Qwirkle?
No, I cannot make a Qwirkle, but I could do something similar as Sarah, but I'm getting, I think that's 3 plus 9 makes 12 points. So it's
another kind of Qwirkle.
It's an undercover Qwirkle.
So you are at 17. You're still leading. That is... I have to remedy that. I'm going to...
And...
I'm going to do one thing that is... because I have not so great tiles.
They cannot see your tiles.
Yeah, but I can tell them they're not good. I want to replace 4 of them. So instead of having a turn...
What Sarah is doing is she draws tiles without looking at them, then puts the ones she wants to get rid of into the bag and then read it, so that you're not allowed to check out what you're getting and then decide what you're getting rid of.
I want this one there. That's not allowed. It's your turn, my love.
Yes. Now, again, just to highlight how this might progress further, I could, for example, add these here, which gives me 4 points for the red row, but also gives me another 4 points on this star row, which turns up to be 8 points, which gets me further ahead. And I would now draw up two again to get back to 6, and this game keeps on going.
I can almost Qwirkle.
Until?
That is 5, 9, 11. That is... I was at 16, right? 11, that's 28.
So just to highlight, 5 here, 9 here, and then another 2 here.
Still no Qwirkle.
And as you can see, it might end up that at some point I'm not able to add stuff nicely or neatly as we're doing here. And knowing that there's 3 of each, we will never have a symmetric perfect shape going on here. So something you can do to annoy people greatly is add combinations in here that will certainly mess up what they're trying to do. So adding, for example, the blue one here means that there will never be a blue one over there. Or I could do something like this, which is also super annoying and
kind of good still.
Would give me actually more points than the other move. Now this continues until this bag of tiles is emptied out, and the player who...
I want this.
Okay.
It's the purple circle. No, just make
just put it out so that we...
that we have a Qwirkle?
Yeah, that we have just a Qwirkle.
There's a Qwirkle.
So, so that would be all colors with the same symbol would be worth 12 points when putting it down, and it doesn't matter if you just complete it or if you complete it with 2, it is worth 12 points. You can obviously go, the highest amount would be getting a double Qwirkle if it's fortunately set up on the board. We had
triple Qwirkles.
Yeah, but we played this game quite often, so...
once or twice.
Yes. The game ends, as I said, when the bag is emptied and someone has gotten rid of all of his pieces here, and that tiles, and that grants a bonus of
6 points
to get a little bit further ahead. But yeah, that's pretty much it. It's almost, as I said, like similar to a rummy where you just try to put stuff together and score points by creating sets. Different from a rummy, you're not allowed to rearrange stuff. I know there's also different rules for rummy, but for example, you cannot break up a row and rearrange it in a different way or something like that. This is what you've got to work with, and the tiles that you drew are the ones you get. You either put them on and score a couple of points, or maybe you want to reserve one where you know that's the last one of that type that's still in the game, just to force someone else to set up a Qwirkle for you. And do some basic strategies like that. So what I'm trying to say here is, while this game is mechanically really simple and quickly explained, there's a bit of more mind games going on during this entire thing, where you're trying to figure out what do the others have, what are they holding back, how can you set up high scores, is it worth scoring low multiple times, or do you want to kind of score big one time and get out of that? it's that kind of game, and it's still very colorful. Although, I think if you're colorblind, you might have some trouble. There's unfortunately these are colors that I don't think are colorblind friendly. At least, certainly not the red and the green ones. Which is unfortunate, but I'm not sure if there's a way they could have changed it. Yeah, maybe if they had added in some kind of symbol for the color that's in the middle of that.
And that reminds me of the tabletop episode where they played it, and both of Will's sons are colorblind and also can't see certain shapes. So people like that might need a trusty helper.
Yeah.
Or, unfortunately sit this one out. But we can move along very smoothly into likes and dislikes. Do you want to keep going? Because you said so.
No, I'll enjoy my
things.
tea this time because it's still hot, because I wasn't talking as much as I tend to do.
I love his spot there. It gets us further in the video.
I don't think it's related to
I know, but let me put out that.
Now you can leave them out. Maybe we want to show something.
No, they've seen it all.
You want to make
They've
noise.
seen it. Yes, that too. They've seen it all. All of it. All the bag of stones or tiles. That's one thing that is kind of weird and so not related. In German, that's your German lesson maybe. We call them Steine and not tiles. So it would be stones that you're pulling out of the bag and trying to make wonderful, victorious patterns with.
Steine can also mean pieces, which makes probably more sense to you the guys out there than stones. But
that's a stoner bag.
No, that's not the kind of stone you have in your trousers if you already have a Zipfel, which is the other German lesson of the day, which is
either a pointy hat,
the tip of a hat or a hat or a beanie, not a beanie. What are they called?
A hat.
Not caps. Mütze. What's the Mütze in?
Yeah, it's kind of like a beanie.
No, it doesn't have the Zipfel. The beanie hat doesn't have the Zipfel.
So there's those little elves that live on the shelf at the end of the year, and they have the pointy hats, and that pointy thing is the Zipfel.
The hat is more the stiff version of anyway.
No, not really.
So Zipfel always means the corner of some soft piece of cloth, maybe.
Yeah, like a pillow.
Similar, and that is true to what you may be carrying around in your trousers.
Yes, I thought of the Rolling Stones, but I was PG-13 anyway.
Yes.
Now, let's talk about the game. Here's a good... please don't. I'm going to puke on the table.
I'm trying to stay abstract.
Use another shape.
Please go. Excellent, Smithers. No. Please.
Stop it, please. A great indicator of what I think about this game is that this is the only board game that I have on my iPad in an iOS version, and I play it. So, surprise, folks! I love this game. I do love abstract games. I do what?
Don't you also have Scrabble on your iPad and play that?
No, I'm not playing it anymore because it is not updated.
Oh, okay. Please.
People, can you please update it so that I might play it?
But what I was trying to say is that obviously Scrabble is not a board game, but just a plague brought upon humanity in order to show off how clever you are with knowing a dictionary rather than knowing how to play a game. And that is my educational minute for the day. Please continue talking about a good game. Actually, a game.
I like Scrabble too a lot, and I was just about to say this sits in the same category for me as Rummy does and Scrabble does and Uno does. So they're fast played. You can play them either tournament style over a year, and whomever has the most points at the end of the year will, get a kiss from you or whatever, or a concert ticket. I mean, there's ways for you to have a tournament style game going on throughout the year, or you can play best out of 3, or you can just play one round after dinner, which is totally, if you're just playing with 2 people and you're kind of in the routine, you can play it rather quick. So I like that a lot. I do like that it is so simple with just 6 shapes and 6 colors. And I'm gonna add a shape in a minute if you don't stop the Raute. So I will say I really love this game. It's, yeah. It is. Oh, I'm
making a circle.
Make it rounder.
A square. But...
Make it rounder, please. I see it. Remember, I see it on the screen. What you're doing, at least blurry. I can see it. But no, it's such a simple game, but still so thinky. If you are quite competitive a player and you, start doing the calculating of probabilities. How likely is it to screw up a Qwirkle for somebody at a certain point? Do you want to be mean and really go forward? Or do you want to be maybe a nice player and just make nice shapes, which also is a very nice thing for people that like aesthetics a lot. You can make wonderful shapes with those rows of colors and shapes that sometimes it might be that it is more important to make something beautiful than scoring the highest points. Just saying. Kind of happened. So yeah, I really love this, and we've played tons and tons of this game. It also got the Spiel des Jahres sticker in 2011, so... I mean, that's I love you, but I don't. That's kind of a testament to, hey, there's a really good game in there. And yes, it might sound really simple, and what about replayability? But it has a very high replayability because it is an abstract game, and it is, it's likely that somebody else will win than before. If you don't play with him, that is. Talking. Now you can. That's what happens when he does the Merkel-Raute and he's totally distracting me, and my IQ is just because it's lowered.
Mm-hmm. I unsurprisingly also like this game, and it is one of those easy to learn, hard to master, but not impossible to master. I think one of the cool things about this is you play this a couple of times and it feels like, I'm winning or I'm losing, but I don't really know why. And you start thinking about it, and then you start holding back tiles.
Or you start training on the hard robots.
And you're starting to see patterns now, and this is certainly a game that you've got to play bunch of times in order to get through it. But since it's quick, it's easily done. It's also, I think, a great, maybe not that edition that we have is a great travel game, but they're travel versions.
That's a wonderful purse.
Unsurprisingly, we are not the only ones who like this game, so it is actually quite easy to pick up. But if you don't have any abstract games and want to have one or get started with one, I think this is a very, very good entry to these types of games. And it's colorful. It's something I think kids enjoy as well, just with the different shapes and colors. It just looks nice once you build up the thing here. Even kids that are certainly older than what we are and enjoy this. And I if you are interested in that and or think, hey, that looks super simple, that's quite easy to make of a game, I can very warm-heartedly recommend a GDC talk for you that is available on YouTube by the designer Susan McKinley-Ross.
And it's in the description box below. It's linked.
Called Design Epiphanies, which talks a little bit how this game was made, that she started out with actually a much larger version with 8 different symbols and
don't spoil it.
And doing that. No,
it's really interesting.
I'm just saying that even though this seems very simple once it's a finished game, finished product. It is very interesting seeing how much thought went in there. And there's one thing she elaborates upon, which I think is something that is the reason why I like this game so much, and that is having a frequent amount of, I think she calls it bingo moments. So a frequent amount of positive reinforcement for what you're doing, and that is specifically the ongoing counting points here, where I made a thing on the board and that is now worth 16 points.
Whoop, whoop. And it's a Qwirkle +4.
And then you feel great. And even though you might lose the game, these positive moments while playing carry you quite a long way, and it's a lot easier, at least for me, than to say, let's start again, because you don't feel too exhausted, maybe, or to put down, even though if you lose it, in the end, you still had a great fun time.
Yeah, and maybe you had a personal high score, even if not winning, but maybe you got a personal high score. So there's lots of ways that you can have positive thoughts about this feeling. Wow.
Yeah.
Hold on.
I'm sorry. It's the tea. The thing is, there's proven now to be a very mind-disrupting Earth radiation on this part of the table, and that there's some magnetic influence or something that spins the hair curly in the wrong way, and then you can't think straight. That is also the reason.
How do you manage? I bumped into the cup. I'm totally not on my. This is
why you get interrupted so often, and yeah.
No more tattoos for you. At least not on the arm where I could bump into you. Or me just not caring about it. That's the other possibility. But
do you have anything else to tell the fine folks that you liked about this game?
I like winning against you a lot. But that is funny stories and experiences.
It's also unrelated to this game in particular.
No. I have lots and lots of funny stories and experiences for this particular game. So if you like, we can do the thumb rating.
That's I don't think it's a secret, and I won't shake my arm for other obvious reasons.
Let's make a zipfel on the top.
This gets double zipfel for me for being a really, really cool, very, very good and easy to play game.
A family game, yeah.
Yes.
So this was actually a game that we I don't know why. Did we buy it because we saw it on tabletop?
I think so, yeah.
Or had we bought it earlier? It was around about that time, right?
We really liked for a long time playing Rummy Cup, which is the Rummy version with also the little tiles that you put together. I'm not sure if it's called Rummy Cup in the...
I think it is. I think it
English distributing areas.
I think it is. But we played that very early on, just shortly after we started dating. I think that was our go-to game.
Rummy Cup is both the game that we both, independent from each other, got roped into by grandparents.
Oh yeah. We were trained, folks. In Germany, it is not only reading and writing and doing math. It is you were trained to play board games, at least by the
kindergarten, preschool, and Rummy Cup training by your elders is kind of the way it is in Germany. Yeah. There's also some beer involved later on, but mostly it's about
It's about a higher allowance, maybe winning against grandma and giving you a few
playing for money. That's
a few pennies of extra allowance because you scored.
You think you can only poker for money? No. There's
no. With me, it was actually gummy bears. Was the winning thing. I got gummy bears.
I think it was hard money with my grandma and my great grandma.
Yeah, no. We grew up in different parts of Germany, so anyway, getting to this game. So we progressed from Rummy Cup to getting Qwirkle, and we played it a lot, just the two of us. We played it a lot with my parents. And actually, we bought them a copy for Christmas because they just really loved this game. And very recently, my mom had friends over. They hadn't seen each other for a couple of years, but they visited my mom very recently, and they played Qwirkle. And they, when I was a kid, played Rummy at my parents' house every other week, so they now Qwirkle instead of playing Rummy. So it's a game that spreads. It's like Quicks. You play it, you buy it, you know?
I think they also were quite hesitant starting to play it at first. And your mom insisted, and
exactly.
They're now better off.
Yeah, exactly. And well, with playing with him, it's with every game that is in the category. So Rummy Cup, Scrabble, Uno. Uno I'm still winning, and Qwirkle. But I win for the long.
Winning at Uno is like winning at rolling a die.
See, I win. Doesn't matter. I win for the longest time, and we keep score. You know, I win for the longest time, and then comes this moment, and I don't know what you do. But after that moment has arrived, I cannot win a single game. He can be sick, he can play blind, he can be wasted, or what? Yeah, sleeping maybe. And I don't get a win in there. And I don't know if he's training or if he watches strategy videos.
No, I don't.
Or anything. I'm just training on the iOS, and I kind of have a chance here and there to put in a win with Qwirkle. But not as much as I did in the first half year that we played this game.
I figured out that the thing I just said, where you hold back and
I do the same
counting
thing
on the stuff,
doing the same thing. So you learn. Okay. So what do you do with Rummy Cup, and what do you do with Scrabble? What's your trick there? What do I have to do?
With Rummy Cup, it's actually very, very similar in regards to that. Rummy Cup, and that is, I think, I'm dropping hot tips here now for a game we're not talking about actually, but the Rummy Cup with a 2-player version, it is very good not to be the first who opens up. Yeah. So you just collect until you can almost instant win by doing it.
Doing the same. But this one here too, I feel more winny or in victorious in the end, or having higher scores if I'm not the first player.
I mean, Qwirkle avoids that issue at all because you have to contribute.
I know, but still, I feel I'm losing way more horribly if I'm the first player to open up because I have the larger amounts of tiles in the beginning. But anyway, another thing, well, we played it with my parents a lot, and they also started playing it, just the two of them, like we did. And, you know, it was actually a really good game for my dad and I when he was on chemo. After chemo, we played lots and lots of rounds of Qwirkle, or if he couldn't go to treatment because, well, blood work was shitty, we played the whole day, we played Qwirkle. So to, get the chemo brain out, if people out there do have folks in their family or friend circle that also experience chemo brain, this is a nice thing to, not overload, but still get people to, do some more mathy things and not just disregard anything on the table, maybe. Anyway, so that was a lot of fun, and I'm the nice player then, or I was the nice player, and saying, hey Dad, you might want to, why don't you put your tiles down there? It's a lot more points than where you are putting them. And sometimes, and I found that so funny, sometimes he said, because it's more beautiful here. So he was the same way. It's like, this looks way more nice. It's balanced on the table. I want to put my tiles down here instead of doing the high score. And sometimes it was like, oh no, I want to put them there where it's the higher score.
Fair warning. if you have some version of OCD that forces you into always going for the most symmetrical setup, this might not be the thing for you.
Yeah, but it was a lot of fun that it's not only me being quirky in Qwirkle, but it was my dad as well, and we had a lot of fun, and we played tons of this game just to, be in a happy mood, see wonderful colors with the wooden tiles. It's just really nice to touch. So there were a lot of very good games. And, now we just have to wait for our niece and nephew to be old enough to Qwirkle with them a lot.
And even then, you can still use this as just wooden building blocks to build something.
Yeah, or rolling stones.
Or throwing it at people trying to break into your house or something.
That too.
Yeah, it's a good self-defense bag of wooden pieces. It's don't hit your teeth, please.
No, I'm trying not to.
I know you appreciate your new perspective.
No, I don't. I kind of actually I kind of feel uncomfortable here. This is not my spot. This is my spot. This is not my spot.
I'm less irritated by this because I'm typically also sitting here when we have dinner.
Yeah, true. But this is not my camera angle, so I tend to not look at the right spot at the camera. I tend to look.
You never look at the right spot of the camera.
Of course I do.
You always like. No, I think I can.
It's time for a teaser.
I think I get to do a riddle. Riddle.
The Qwirkle riddle. Oh, so no, don't make the Raute. I'm going to.
I'm not making. I'm just resting my head.
So you're making the Sherlock?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Don't let Sherlock morph into Merkel, I'm saying. Anyway, the game that we're going to paint is a competitive game that we bought this year. No, that we got delivered this year. It is quite the heavy game that has a timeline thing and also a building your engine worker placement thing.
It's timeline.
No. Good one. No. It's a really heavy box. You can...
Yeah, you already said it's a heavy game.
Yeah, but it is also, with a heavy game, involved. So it's heavy weight-wise, and it's also very involved. It actually is quite brain-melty. And it is...
The thing is, I know exactly which game it is, and I'm trying really hard to come up with some fake guesses.
Your timeline was a good one.
Yeah, the timeline pretty much gave it away, but... yeah, that's...
It plays partially in outer space.
I got nothing, but I can tell you that it is a game that had the highest production Gamers Couch video that we ever did, which doesn't mean much, but in comparison to what we're doing here right now, it does. Yeah.
It lingered on the couch.
Yes, true.
That's good. So I helped you tease. Great.
And it's been also using some really old school filming techniques. So that's maybe a little bit of anachronistic of us to do that. But
it's sometimes you just go for a certain genre or time and age.
Maybe one of these days we've got to do a black and white episode too.
We already did one. Way back, yeah. Way back. Yeah. We were still on that couch, on the first couch.
Huh. Oh god. See, it's all black and white once it's older than 5 days for me.
Okay, so am I black and white for you?
Yeah, if you remember stuff, it's always black and white. Because it's in the TV.
Now, we're going to leave you to the rest of your weekend, hoping you, if you have Qwirkle, play around. If you don't have Qwirkle and would like to get it, well, get to the shopping center, mall, Amazon, whatever of your choice, and get your own copy.
And sometimes these are really cheap in some offers to pick up. Can't really go wrong, I think. I mean, obviously, if abstract games are really not for you, then I don't think this might win you over, but I think it is, from all the abstract games, the one that is still the most approachable and also deep enough to keep you interested. I think that's the highest praise I can give for a game like that. It maybe the only thing that limits you is the player count, saying 2 to 4. But I think for a family game, that's fine. Yep. There's expansions out for this, which we haven't tried, played, looked at. This is it's almost at a point where I would say that's like trying to add expansions to chess or backgammon or some other games.
No,
so,
some games are just perfect the way they are.
I think this is a very very fitting design and doesn't need much tinkering to make it better.
Yeah. Now, my love, do the wonderful job of the outro. You're sitting in the spot of the outro.
Sure.
Make it good.
Sure.
Make me happy.
Sure.
Don't murkle.
Sure.
I'm not going to say anything.
Sure. Thanks for joining. Goodbye.
No, make it good. Make me happy. I said there were specific requests on how you
so. Thank you for joining us on the couch today, which is still not a couch anymore at this time. If you like this, you can thumb this up. If you don't, thumb it down. I don't care. we
have fun.
If you want to see more of our ugly bugs making terrible jokes, you can subscribe. Or if you really want to annoy other people, just share it with them. It's fine. We also keep geek lists on Board Game Geek for this, called the Gamer's Couch, or for Sarah's and Tina's endeavors in trying to capture moments of playing games in time as a picture, called Draw for Initiative, also as a geek list there. Which you can also like or not.
I tried to keep it together.
Still don't care. Oh. And with that, we thank you and hope you have a good week, and hope to see you next week. And goodbye.
Bye. You did good. I'm proud.
Is it now? Do we getting DMCA by Britney Spears? Oh, no, that's not Britney Spears. What was it? Some boy band with Bye. Was it?
NSYNC.
Oh, God.
How, wife? How can you know that? Well, I have a brain I can remember.